G'day everyone, Jaimunji here, and Happy New Year. That means it is time for me to unveil my top 10 albums of 2022. Oh, this was hard. Honestly, I thought last year's was hard. This year was so much harder. So many bands just put out banger after banger after banger of album. Honestly, I was debating making this a top 20. I thought, nah, that video would go for too long. You'd lose interest halfway through. So some bands are going to be missed out that I did love. I did really enjoy their albums, but I've cut it down to the top 10. I've chucked in some honorable mentions here and there. I will say I'm not including live albums. I'm not including any albums that have been remastered and reissued, and I'm not including EPs, even though Spirit Box had an absolutely fantastic EP out this year, so I thought I'd better give that a shout out anyway. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it. Coming in at number 10, Amorphis Halo. This might be a bit of a surprise to you guys because I don't think I've done a reaction video to any of Amorphis' stuff. I don't know why I didn't do it. So don't ask. I honestly don't know. If any new music videos come out in the future, I will. I don't know. For some reason, it just skipped over my head. There's a couple of bands on here that I just didn't do any reaction videos to. I know, weird. But this album was absolutely fantastic. Great follow-up to Queen of Time. I didn't think they'd come anywhere near close to that album, but they've done fantastic. There are some absolute bangers on this album. 3 of my favorites. You got The Moon, the self-titled track Halo, and it was hard for me to pick the third, but I had to go with On Dark Waters because that was the first song I heard that was released on this album. Absolutely fantastic album through and through. It definitely needed to make my top 10. Coming in at number 9, and this might not be a surprise to people, is Matt Heafy's baby, Ibaraki, and I might pronounce this song wrong, Rashomon. Probably pronounce that wrong. I'm probably going to pronounce the song titles wrong too. This was fantastic. When I first heard the first single, at first it was so different to what Trivium was, I didn't like it. In the end, that song became one of my favorites of the year. This album is fantastic. If you haven't heard it, I really suggest checking out the song Ronin. Beautifully structured song, long. Matt Heafy's cleans in this are incredible, and it features Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance doing some of the most intense black metal vocals you've ever heard in your life. In fact, I'll play a little clip of that part here right now. Yeah, that's Gerard Way. I know, it blew my mind when that came out. Absolutely fantastic album. It needed to make the top 10 as well, and that's why I'm giving it number 9. All your faith, all your rage, all your pain. Coming in at number 8, Ghost Imperia. I love this album, and I kind of put on the Ghost shirt to throw you guys off, thinking that might be number 1, so if you saw that under my battle jacket. But I really did like this album. I didn't like it as much as the previous one, but that had big shoes to fill. I know Ghost has gone a bit poppy over the years, but in all fairness, I kind of like that sound. There's not a lot of bands that sound like them. People might debate that this band's not metal at all, but I still think it fits in that subgenre. That's why it's here. Some of my favorite tracks was Hunter's Moon, that's absolutely fantastic. Spillways, and Call Me Little Sunshine. Now, when I first heard it, that one took me a while to warm up to, so I don't think if I had Call Me Little Sunshine on repeat as much, it would have made it. But over time, that song's really grown on me. Coming in at number 7, The Halo Effect. This band really surprised me. It's In Flames, but not In Flames at the same time. I think every member has had a little stint in Flames at some point in their career. Even the singer. I didn't know the original singer, Anders, for In Flames wasn't the original singer. They hired, I forget his name right now, from Dark Tranquillity to do vocals on their first EP, I believe, in the early 90s. This album was absolutely fantastic. Something the melodic death metal community needed to kind of give a bit of life into it. It's great. It's fantastic. I need to include it in my top 10. Some of my favorite songs of this one, Shadow Minds, Feel What I Believe, and In Broken Trust. I know that wasn't a lot of people's favorites, but that chorus, it's real mellow. I love the music video with the fireworks going off in the background. It was great. I suggest giving that song another try if you're a bit iffy on it. Coming in at number 6, Arch Enemy Deceivers. This album really blew my expectations out of the water. I like Alyssa. I love Alyssa and Arch Enemy. This is by far her best work in the band. You even get some clean vocals on Handshake with Hell. This album was kind of everything I expected from Arch Enemy and more. Very front-loaded. I feel most of the good songs are on the first half or the first 80% of the album, but everything's good. Not a track is skippable on this album. That's why I had to include it in the top 10. Favorite songs: Deceiver, Deceiver, Handshake with Hell, and The Watcher. They're great. If you haven't listened to any of the songs off these albums, go check out those three. Alright, coming in at number 5, we're going a bit more light-hearted electric cowboy techno. This was definitely the most fun album of the year. Sometimes you just need a bit of lightheartedness in your metal, and the bass on these tracks, the pumping up, it is absolutely fantastic. Some of my favorites were Huracan. That was a brilliant music video. We Got the Moves, and of course, Pump It. Love the wigs, guys. You must spend all your budget on wigs, but it's totally worth it. Coming in at number 4, Sabaton, The War to End All Wars. Honestly, guys, I thought this was going to be number 1 when it came out. I adore this album. I still do. It's still on repeat a lot. In fact, anything in this top 5 could have been number 1. So if you think, oh, number 2 should have been number 1, or number 3 should have been number 1, you're probably right. The top 5 was really, really close, so it was hard to put this in order. I love this album. Got to see Sabaton live for the first time this year, which was just icing on the cake as well. Some of my favorite songs of this one: The Unkillable Soldier, Soldier of Heaven, and I was going to say Christmas Truce or Dreadnought, but honestly, I really like Lady of the Dark. Such a catchy chorus, brilliant song, so I'm going with those three. Alright, coming in at number 3, Lorna Shore, Pain Remains. I didn't listen to deathcore. I just didn't. I like Whitechapel, but Whitechapel have changed a bit in the last couple of years, and I do like the clean singing they've added to it. They were probably the band that first kind of broke me into this type of music, and then Lorna Shore, when Into the Hellfire came out, just blew my mind like it did with everyone. Wills Ramos's vocals are just absolutely incredible. I was a bit scared on how the album was going to go, if it was too much. I didn't know if I could listen to a deathcore album from start to finish, but I've listened to that album so many times start to finish. It just gets better on every listen. It's just beautifully constructed. Guitars are killer, Will's vocals are killer, the strings, just everything is... I love this album. It could have easily been number 1, but I think number 3 is a good spot for it. Some of my favorite songs, of course, Pain Remains Part 1. I'm sure everyone would agree with that. I love Sun Eater. That's definitely my favorite song off this album. And one song that's warmed up to me and I love, Into the Earth. Just the beginning of that and the weird goblin noises he does towards the end. It's fantastic. If you've never given them a try one of those songs. Like, it is heavy, so I don't expect everyone to like it, but it's different and it's good. It is real good. Alright, before we move on to the final 2, I want to do my honorable mentions now. These bands were really hard to kick out of the top 10. A lot of them were sitting at 7, 8, 9, 10, and when I sat down and just kind of worked everything around, they just missed the cut, and they only missed the cut by that much. So let's get into those honorable mentions. Alright, coming in at number 2, Bad Omens, The Death of Peace of Mind. I had never heard of Bad Omens before this year. I was watching YouTube and it just was auto-playing, and I think The Grave was the first song that came on. I was like, Oh, that's interesting. Dude's got a really, really good voice, and I didn't pay any attention to it. I didn't really go in and look for more until Artificial Suicide came on. That song hit you like a Mack truck. That was my most played song of the year on my Spotify Wrap. It's just, it's crazy. This album, the best way to describe it is if you got the sound of Bring Me the Horizon and turn it into Cyberpunk. It's weird. It's his vocals. He goes from falsetto highs to I had a friend that thought there was a female singer in the band. The real crushing heavy parts like the end of Concrete Jungle, Artificial Suicide. This album is unique, and that is the best way to describe it, unique. So if you haven't heard of Bad Omens before, go check out. My top 3 songs were Artificial Suicide, The Grey, and probably Concrete Jungle. But honestly, I could have gone What Do You Want From Me, I Don't Want the Money, Nowhere to Go. This album is just hit after hit after hit after hit. It was really hard to put it in at number 2. It is brilliant. Please go check them out. You will not be disappointed.
Blood and glitter, sweet and bitter, we're so happy we could die. Blood and glitter!
Alright, coming in at number 1, Lord of the Lost, Blood and Glitter. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who follows my channel that I adore Lord of the Lost. Now, I'm not being biased. Judas didn't win Album of the Year last year. They came second. But this was such a special album. Every song is just hit after hit after hit after hit. Every song could be a single, and from what I see, it looks like every song will be a single. They've got music videos to everything. So I am really, really looking forward to the year ahead. This album is perfect. If you haven't given Lord of the Lost a go, or this is the first time hearing them, please go check them out. Some of my favorite songs of this album, and it's hard for me just to pick 3, but right at the moment, gun to my head, I picked these 3. Blood and Glitter, leave your hate in the comments, and One More Song. One More Song is such an anthem of a song. I really recommend you give that song a listen to if you haven't. But honestly, well-deserved number 1 spot. Thank you so much, guys. It was absolutely brilliant. This was such a hard year to put music in order, but I hope you like my list. Tell me what I missed in the comments below, because there's a good chance I haven't heard of the band before, and I always want to check out some more music. So leave your favorites in the comment below. What did you agree with? What didn't you disagree with? I'm sure you'll tell me, so please tell me. But for now, I've been Jaimunji, and you all have a good one.